So welcome back to Tong Raceway. We're back in Thailand again, just showing you the basement and what we've had to contend with here in the wet season. The basement, as you can see there, is probably about, say, roughly 330 mil or 1 foot down below ground level at the back of the house here. And every wet season the groundwater comes up through the tiles and floods this basement. Last week with the monsoon it was flooded with about 20 mil of water, but then we went to Home Pro, and I'll just take you outside. I apologise for the rough footage, but it's just a raw footage video. And I bought a submersible pump that's float operated down in there. And that's just a temporary setup just to drain the basement out, because the water was up to here, to this main supply for one of the bathrooms down the other end of the house. So we've just got it in there, but this tub arrived, this tank, a 150 litre tank arrived this week, drum. So we're going away for a couple of days, but next week I'll get that dug in. And of course I'll perforate it and place the pump down in it, have this hole enlarged to fit it, and then I'll have instead of the plumbing just going out the side there's a stormwater canal. I'll just zoom you in. You can see a fence there that we had installed when we were here earlier this year. Just beyond that fence is a stormwater canal running in the same direction off the street, and there's numerous outlets in the foundation of that fence for water to go out. So I've just temporarily had that plumbed through there, just so we could drain the basement and I could start using it and working on it again. It's a very low clearance basement. My head, and I'm only about 5'8", 173. My head comes up to about here from the ground level outside, and then it's just 2 small steps down into the basement and about a half size set of doors to get in there. As I've previously explained in a video, this room leads up onto my sister-in-law's bedroom up there. And so she gave me half the basement to use, and the basement is roughly divided by this beam here, which once again is below head height. Head height for me is about here, so you've got to be careful when you're down here. So because this place is we think that Nonny built it about 15 or 16 years ago. Every wet season the groundwater has been coming up, and this row of 2 tiles here I've already cleaned. That's actually clean. That's just hard water staining. The minerals have come up through and stained the tiles. I've even scrubbed it with a scourer. I'm using a fairly eco-friendly detergent though, because I don't like wearing gloves. So I'm just going to clean the rest of that, or get a start on it anyway. This cupboard is going upstairs because we've got 46 cartons, of which about 44 cartons are household stuff and slot car stuff. Did I say 34? Yeah, should be 34. There's about 11 or 12 cartons of tools, and I'll show what I'm going to do with those when the time comes. We'll also move this little cabinet. And I'm very lucky. There's the floor for the main bedrooms, or 2 of the main bedrooms. It's a 5 bedroom, 4 bathroom house. And below the walkway and the stairs that you can just see there, it's only 5 stairs it's a split level house. Nonny and her designers were, excuse my mess of tools, I've just been using those roughly the last few days for different projects. there's a good sized storage area in there. So I'm going to sort all that out and make better use of it. And we were also lucky enough last week to find this cabinet, which is about 1.8 or 6 foot long. And I saw there's another identical one for sale in Tong, which is the neighbouring sort of province. It's only about 15-20 minutes drive from here. So if I can sort this out well enough, I might pick up another one of these, because I've still got about another 200 cars being shipped over. So I'm actually thinking of turning this track around 90 degrees, and once that cabinet's gone, extending the track basically to that width, so I can have a slightly longer straight and make it a little more interesting going over the top. At the moment, that's just a standard. It's basically based on a standard Arton 4-lane set that was available about 20 odd years ago. It's not quite right. There's one straight short. I just ran out of timber board when I built it pretty quickly a couple of years ago here. So I'll do that, and then I'll work out, once the track is going across there and a little bit longer, I'll then work out where I'm going to place that and if I have room for another. Otherwise I'm going to have to purchase more brackets and some sheets of glass, and this cabinet, the structure of it is welded together, so it's not going to be easy to get another sheet of glass in there. So instead of messing around with that, for another $100 I can grab another one of these. It's 100 AU, or about 65 US roughly, and work out where I'm going to put these on. Unfortunately, the video doesn't show it, but it is higher than the door level. But now that I've sorted out the flooding problem, the feet and the caster levels are actually, from memory, about 7 inches or 180, roughly 180 mil tall. So I could lower them so that they actually do go below the doors of the storage cabinets there. But then you've got the issue of access, which is from the back. As you can see there, I haven't cleaned or fitted the sliding doors yet. So that's one of my projects, I suppose. And once I've got this all cleaned up, and now that it's permanently going to be dried, and with the pits sorted out just outside that window there, just trying to manoeuvre around here without hitting my head. So from the track perspective, just where that upturned chair is, that's where the temporary pit is. The pit will remain there, it will just be enlarged so that drum can be put in there. And as I said, the drum will be perforated all the way around to allow the water in, but there is just a little bit of silt getting into that temporary basket in there. So by perforating the drum a little bit higher, say about 4 inches or 100 mil off, hopefully that will keep the majority of the silt out of the pit. And what I can do to keep an eye on that is just get a wet and dry vac and clean it out if it ever needs it. So that's where I'm at here for now. Apart from cleaning these tiles today, that's about all I'll get done, because we're actually going away for a couple of days in the morning. So I hope to be providing more updates from now on as we go. So thanks for tuning in, and hopefully maybe next week I'll do some sort of time trial video again, or a test and tuning. I've been a couple of days ago, once the flooding has subsided in here, I got out the the Scalextrics and Polycar early winged Formula One cars, and was just working on tuning those and adjusting the power supply and brake settings to get them to perform equally. I'm not about outright pace, as you may have learned from my previous videos. I just like getting cars of different brands going at about the same pace, and then either running a time trial or racing them sedately with some friends. And I'm going away. I used to use the I'll just go around the back of this temporary. You can see there's a potentiometer there, variable potentiometer. That's how I used to adjust the power on these, just by choking the power. But I'm going away from that because the LED meters that I used to use to measure it accurately were very fragile and unreliable. So I'm now going to these buck boost power supplies, and I've purchased a 12 volt 10 amp power supply which will feed 4 of those, so I can adjust the power supplies to each lane individually. So going back to those cars that I just showed you, the poly cars, just for the exercise I did the other day, were running at 7 volts, and simple as this. Oops, I left it too long. Just do it again. I just adjust it up to 7 volts for the poly cars because they're a lower RPM motor than the Scalextrics. I think off the top of my head they're about 14,000, and the Scalextrics are a fairly aggressive 18,000. So I run the Scalextrics at 6 volts, and it seems to give them very similar straight line. And I'm using Smart Race in analog mode. I usually have this here, which I'll permanently mount better once I've finalised this track layout. Sorry about the disjointed video, but these 1, 2, 3 are the Polycar early Formula One cars, and these are the Scalextrics. I can run up to 6 cars at a time in a qualifying or practice or race session using Smart Race Digital. I'll include a screenshot of that when I edit this video tonight. And there's a few more of them. These are just cars that I was able to pack in my luggage, and unfortunately I did one was damaged. So, but I found all the pieces in the suitcase, so that's a bit of a shame because it was a beautiful car. It still drives well. But I'll have to do my best. When we return, I know there's a model shop in the actual old city of Chiang Mai. I'll go there to get the appropriate adhesive to fix that. So that's about all I've got to share today. I know it's a fairly disjointed video, so I appreciate you watching that. There's just a little whiteboard that I found here, and I'm just using it as reference to remind me about what I'm doing to achieve parity in the classes that I like to set up. I know some people have commented, going, wow, you only run them on 6 volts, how boring. But on a short circuit like this, they still slide. Very easy to drive though, admittedly. At 6 volts you only have to back off 3 times. Slow down at the end of the main straight here. I actually disconnected the brake just on my temporary setup, but they will eventually all have a variable pot too for brakes. I'll build up 4 panels. So basically I set it up so that you can just brake here, slide off a little bit to wash off some speed, and then you can almost punch it, but if you punch it straight away it will slide out just over there on the exit over on the bridge, and then back off for this corner here, a short squirt just down here, and then apply the power carefully around there. But even novice drivers, can pick it up very quickly because it's only 6 or 7 volts. The cars get to live a lot longer too, so although a lot of them do have some racing scars on them, like this little Lotus has got one missing exhaust pipe already, but I do have it in a bag somewhere. And this one has the modelling of the gearbox broken off. But they still look great going around the track, and I do have all those parts. They'll eventually get glued back on. Okay, that's all I've got to share with you. I know I've said that about 3 or 4 times. Thanks for joining in. Bye for now.